Leadership authorities like Brené Brown, Simon Sinek, emphasize the importance of being vulnerable, being transparent in your relationships with people, showing your emotions. And I think that is absolutely right on. It is totally appropriate to share your emotions with other people, especially in a time like today when we're going through so much with the pandemic and the economy and the uncertainty. There is one non-negotiable exception if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a leader, and that is you must not share your fear. Robert Louis Stevenson, the writer, said, "Keep your fears to yourself, share your courage with others," because he understood at an intuitive level that both fear and courage are contagious. And you as a leader don't want to you don't want to infect people with fear, you want to infect them with courage. H. Jackson Brown, in his cute little book, Life's Little, more than cute, it was a really good book, Life's Little Instruction Book, he said, "Be brave. Even if you're not, pretend to be. Nobody else can tell the difference." You may have heard about the story of Shackleton, Sir Ernest Shackleton and the Endurance, the greatest survival story in history. Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, was trapped in the Antarctic ice for 2 full years. Imagine, if you want to imagine what it was like, lock yourself in your freezer with the lights out half the year for 2 years on minimal rations and then come out. And there's in the movie Shackleton, Sir Kenneth Branagh portrays Shackleton. And there's a scene where the ship's carpenter and Shackleton are not getting along. And finally the carpenter screams, "We're all going to die." Shackleton gets right in his face and he says, "Nobody's going to die." He understood that if any of his 26 men had any inkling that he didn't have hope and expectation and belief and faith that they were all going to survive, it could have started a downward spiral, emotionally circling the drain. He had to infect them with his courage. And nobody did die. And it was as much as the physical rigors that they went through, it was the emotional, the courage that that he sparked in his people. Here's another nautical example. You may have seen the movie U-571, a fictional story set in World War II. An American submarine is trying to capture a German submarine and everything goes wrong. The American sub blows up and sinks. The American skipper and most of the crew are killed. And you end up with a skeleton crew of Americans on this German submarine. They don't know how to operate. And the second in command on the old ship, played by Matthew McConaughey, the second in command is now the skipper. And they're around the periscope, and this young guy says, "What are we going to do now, skipper?" And the new skipper says, "I don't know. You think I have all the answers? Well, I don't. I don't know." And he goes back to the captain's quarters and he closes the door. And a couple minutes later, there's a knock on the door. And he opens it up and there's Chief Clow, this old salt who's been in submarines since before young Skipper was in diapers. He says, "Permission to speak, sir." He said, "Yeah, Chief, what's on your mind?" And Chief says, "Those words you said back there, I don't know. Don't you ever say that to your men again. Those words will kill your men deader than a depth charge will. You're the skipper now, and the skipper always knows. Even when he doesn't know, the skipper always knows." You are the entrepreneur now. You are the leader now. People are looking to you for the kind of courage that Shackleton brought to his men in their Antarctic ordeal. You're the leader now. You're the entrepreneur now. You're the skipper now. And the skipper always knows. Even when he doesn't know, the skipper always knows.